Revealed, how a black beggar's incredible journey of mourning transformed him into a millionaire. Jamal had once been the pride of his family, a hard-working construction worker known for his smile that lit up even the cloudiest days. Then, in the blink of an eye, everything crumbled. His beloved wife, Kendra, lost to a hospital's negligence, left him grasping at the shards of his life. Alone with Mia, their bright-eyed daughter, he felt like a ghost haunting the streets he used to walk confidently, tools in hand. Now, he pushed a worn-out cart filled with hand-me-down clothes, guilt gnawing at his insides like a hungry rat. The crowd rushed by, their eyes averted a chorus of judgment and silence, each sideways glance a stone he couldn't escape. Every day was tougher than the last. Jamal would find a spot near the bakery, the aroma of fresh bread a cruel reminder of simpler times. As he knelt on the pavement, his heart raced with shame. He wasn't just begging for change, he was begging to be seen. People would walk by, avoiding his gaze, their whispers tinged with disbelief as if his poverty stripped away his fatherhood. A stubborn tear slipped from his eye as Mia played with her doll across the street, unaware of Dad's vulnerability, her laughter ringing like a bell. What would Kendra think? Would she still see him as a good father? He wasn't alone, though. An old man named Mr. Harper sat nearby, dressed in frayed clothes, his silver hair gleaming in the setting sun. The veteran had stories carved on his skin and a heavy heart to match. They would talk young father and aging warrior sharing tales of love, loss, and the relentless fight of holding on to hope. Their conversations chased away some of the loneliness that clung fiercely to Jamal, reminding him that every struggle echoed in the veins of this city. Sometimes they'd share a laugh, and for a fleeting moment, Jamal could almost forget the weight on his shoulders. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. One day, as Jamal rummaged through an old box from his grandfather, he found a journal filled with inked dreams and aspirations. This wasn't just ink on paper, it was a legacy, a reminder of the entrepreneurial spirit that ran in his blood. It sparked something in him, a flicker of resolve. Could he turn this around? The idea of launching a small construction business glittered in his mind like stars against the night sky. But who would he become in the process? Yet there were whispers of opportunity. A business seminar was buzzing in the community, promising lucrative contacts for budding entrepreneurs. Could this be Jamal's chance? But as his heart raced at the thought of a better life, guilt wove its shadow, whispering doubts louder each day. Should he walk away from the brotherhood he built on the streets, the friendships that helped him rise when he felt broken, and chase the dream of wealth? Mia's smile haunted him like a haunting melody of hope and loss, dragging him toward the precipice of decision. What would happen if he succeeded? Would he abandon his friends who lifted him when he couldn't stand? Just as he braced himself for the next steps, a news story flashed in the passing crowd, a reminder of the past that wouldn't let go, crumbling the ground beneath him. Would his ambition push him out of the life he'd fought to rebuild? The question lingered heavily, urging him toward a crossroads that could change everything. The sun rose early the next day, casting a warm glow across the streets where Jamal navigated his way to the community center. The seminar was a chance, a flicker of hope amidst a relentless storm. He could feel the apprehension tightening its grip on his heart, squeezing out any chance of encouragement. But the thought of Mia's future pushed him forward, like a beacon lighting the way through the fog. As he stepped inside, the noise enveloped him, a mix of laughter, chatter, and the clanking of chairs. The energy was palpable, invigorating yet intimidating. A part of him wanted to turn back, but determination fueled each step. He spotted Mr. Harper in the corner, his gaze warm with encouragement. It felt as if the old man were saying, "You belong here." Jamal took a deep breath, allowing the scent of coffee to fill his lungs, and walked to the front. He could see a group gathering around a charismatic speaker who was sharing stories of struggle and triumph, his voice filled with a confidence Jamal yearned to feel. The room buzzed with excitement as the speaker shared how he turned tantalizing dreams into tangible successes. Jamal's heart quickened with inspiration, stirring an ember within. Thoughts of his past battles, doubt and despair faded. Suddenly, he was filled with possibility. He would take the plunge. Ideas swirled in his mind, a whirlwind of blueprints and business names, swirling around like leaves in an autumn breeze. The seminar continued, and as each minute ticked by, so did Jamal's barriers, brick by brick. He could tap into his heritage, the lessons from the journal, and maybe, just maybe, build a legacy for Mia. After the session, Jamal approached the speaker, his heart thundering like a drum. "Excuse me, sir," he managed, his voice slightly tremulous. The man turned, his smile reassuring. As they began to talk, Jamal poured out his heart, his loss, his dreams, and his fears. To his surprise, the speaker listened intently, nodding along, and offered not just advice but also a connection to the very resources Jamal needed. It was as if a door swung wide open, welcoming him into a world he had thought was long lost. Jamal left the seminar with a newfound determination. But with the euphoria came another wave of fear. Was he willing to take this first step away from the life he knew and the friends he cherished? Could he really break free from the past while still lifting up those around him? As he walked home, each step felt heavier, the weight of his choices pressing down. He spotted Mia waiting, her laughter ringing like music under the fading light. And though his heart sank with the worries of both the present and future, her simple joy struck a chord. He knelt down, joy mingling with dread, and opened his arms wide, enveloping her in an embrace that put everything into perspective. Whatever happened, he was her father, and she would always deserve a better life. But as dusk descended, a shadow from the past loomed closer than ever, threatening to collapse the fragile dreams he was nurturing. Jamal, still kneeling, glanced over his shoulder, sensing eyes watching him from the edge of the crowd. A figure he recognized, one that carried every shred of his past. Would it pull him back, or would he stand his ground? As Jamal held Mia in his arms, the laughter fading into the background like a distant melody, the tension in his chest tightened. He turned slightly to confirm the figure lurking on the edge of the crowd. The evening light painted shadows across the face he knew too well. It was Tyrone, a friend turned ghost from his past life, had once roamed the same streets, sharing moments of joy and pain. They'd laughed together, schemed on basketball courts, and shared dreams until the spark of ambition in Tyrone dimmed. Jamal stood, pulling Mia closer, fighting the urge to let fear wash over him. "Jamal!" Tyrone called out, his voice slicing through the chatter. It was a mix of caution and challenge, the kind that made Jamal's heart race. "Is that you, man?" Mia looked up, confused. "Daddy, who is he?" Jamal forced a smile, wanting to shield her from the storm brewing within. "Just, someone I used to know," he said, his voice steadier than he felt. He released Mia, though she hesitated to let go. The moment their connection broke, her innocence replaced Jamal's protective armor with vulnerability. Tyrone approached, each step charged with memories Jamal thought he had buried. "You really think you're gonna change the world, don't you?" Tyrone chuckled, but there was bitterness underlying the jest. "The way you pretend to be better now? It ain't that simple. You know where we came from." Jamal felt the weight in his chest morph into a fire, momentarily igniting the self-doubt he had pushed aside. "I'm trying to do things differently, Tyrone. For Mia. For me." His voice was firmer now, emboldened by the sense of purpose lit within him at the seminar. Mia tugged at Jamal's shirt, her eyes wide with concern. "Daddy, can we go home?" "Just a second, baby," he said, steadying himself. The clash of past and future was palpable. Tyrone stepped closer, challenging, "You can't escape it, man. No matter how hard you try, it's all still there like ghosts creeping behind every corner. You really think they want to see you succeed?" Jamal's pulse quickened. He didn't need this. He had fought so hard to push those thoughts aside. They can try, but this time I'm not backing down. A flicker of affirmation sparked within him. Good luck with that, Tyrone smirked. But don't be surprised when they come clawing back at you. Some friendships just don't let go. Feeling the tension ache in his shoulders, Jamal locked eyes with Mia. She was watching him, her small hands clasped together, trust radiating from her gaze. It wasn't just about him anymore, it was about breaking the cycle. He needed to show her. They were more than remnants of their past. Hey! Mr. Harper's voice cut through the charged air as he approached. I think it's time we all move along. We don't need anger spoiling our progress. His gentle presence seemed to dissolve the tension, but the shadows still loomed over Jamal, uncertainty blending with resolve. As Tyrone melted back into the crowd, the knot in Jamal's stomach remained. He knew this could be a tipping point, a moment where he either drew strength from his past or let it engulf him. They walked home, hand in hand, at dusk's dimming light, content but troubled. Mia broke the silence. Do you think he's right, Daddy? About the ghosts? Her voice was fragile, torn between worry and a child's hope. Jamal squeezed her hand tighter, a wave of determination spilling over him. No, baby. I want to let them control us. We're making our future, one step at a time. But still, as they turned the corner, doubt flickered in his mind. Could he really escape the turmoil of his past? The road stretched ahead as if uncharted. Just before they got home, a familiar phone buzzed from his pocket with a text that could change everything. We need to talk. I have information that can help you. His heart raced. Was this the chance he was searching for, or a trap that could send him spiraling back into the darkness? Jamal stood frozen for a moment, the glow from his phone illuminating his face. The words seemed to pulse in the quiet of the evening, drawing him in, promising a lifeline or a descent into chaos. He glanced at Mia, who was now distracted by a passing dog, blissfully unaware of the weight of his decision. The shadows of doubt crept deeper into his thoughts. The moment he pursued what lay behind the message, would he be risking everything he tried to build? Daddy? Mia called, breaking his reverie. He took a deep breath, tucking the phone back in his pocket as they continued toward home. The city felt alive around them, with families laughing, music playing, and a sense of possibility weaving through the air. But beneath it all, an unsettling knot twisted in his stomach, echoing Tyrone's words. Once they entered their small apartment, the familiar scent of home enveloped them, an odd blend of coffee and the faintest hint of Mia's crayons. It felt like a sanctuary, but the walls could never shield him from his past, nor the uncertainty that loomed just outside their threshold. Can I have a snack, Daddy? Mia asked, her voice light, a contrast to the heaviness in his heart. Jamal watched her, an innocent smile etched on her face, and felt a surge of love and protection. He grabbed an apple from the kitchen counter, offering it to her like it was the most precious gift. Mia took it and crunched into it, spinning her little body in circles as if trying to spin away all the dark thoughts that plagued him. Dance with me, Daddy! She exclaimed, her laughter bubbling like a sweet melody. He joined her, swaying to a tune only she could hear. For a moment, he let the laughter rise, the warmth of her joy wrapping around him like a shield. It faded quickly, though, as memories of Tyrone clawed at him, the friendship that had soured, the paths that diverged. As evening shadows deepened, the light dimming in their apartment, Jamal felt the weight of the text crushing down on him again. The prospect of what lies ahead was there, looming in the dim light. Just as he opened his mouth to reassure Mia, his phone buzzed again. Quickly he pressed it to silence, but curiosity gnawed at him fiercely. Whatever it was, it felt important. Moments later, a second text arrived, betraying the urgency. Meet me at the corner of Maple and 3rd, 9 p.m. Don't be late. Who's that, Daddy? Mia scrunched her brow, looking at him with innocent eyes that pierced through his fog of uncertainty. Just a friend, he lied, and something twisted inside him a pang of guilt. But in a way, was it really a lie? This person could hold secrets that could change everything. As night enveloped the city, Jamal found himself pacing, wrestling with the decision that loomed before him. The clock ticked closer to 9. He could feel the pull, the whisper urging him to discover what those texts truly meant. But was he prepared for what he might face? Mia, hugging her stuffed bear, peered at him through the dim light. "Are you going somewhere?" He hesitated, then knelt down to her level, cupping her small face in his hands. "I'll always come back, Mia. I promise." A lie or not, he didn't fully know, but how could he stay without knowing? As he stepped towards the door, every heartbeat seemed to scream a warning at him. Outside, the wind rustled, ominously beckoning him into the unknown. He couldn't ignore the hope rising within him. With one last glance at Mia, he whispered, "Stay safe." Jamal opened the door, the stillness of the night swallowing him whole as he stepped outside. The world loomed eerily quiet, yet filled with possibilities. With resolve tightening around his heart, he walked into the darkness, drawing closer to whatever awaited him at that corner, but the city had secrets to share, secrets that would test not only his strength but could also change the course of his life forever. What awaited him at that intersection wouldn't simply be a chance at redemption, it held the promise of transformation. The corner of Maple and 3rd flickered with neon lights. It was a meeting point, a space filled with echoes of laughter and whispered secrets. Jamal felt a shiver run down his spine as he approached, uncertainty merging with a strange sense of anticipation. The street was more alive than he imagined, filled with the sounds of cars, shouting vendors, and the distant thump of music. He glanced around, his heart racing. A flicker of doubt twisted in his mind. What was he doing here? Every step felt heavy, dragging him back to memories he wanted to forget. But the thrill of potential change propelled him forward. He had to know what was going on. At the corner, he spotted a figure leaning against a lamppost shrouded in shadows, yet familiar. Tyrone. Jamal's heart sank. There he was, the face of their past disagreement, the coiled tension still present between them. The air thickened with unresolved issues and unspoken words. "Jamal," Tyrone acknowledged coolly, pushing himself off the lamppost. The flickering light illuminated his face, briefly lines of worry etched deep. "You really came? What's this about?" Jamal asked, trying to keep his voice steady, though his nerves were electric. Tyrone shifted his feet, glancing around as if they were being watched. "It's about your future and my mistakes. I didn't come just to reminisce." The urgency in his tone pulled Jamal in, like a moth to a flame. "What do you mean?" Jamal narrowed his eyes, searching for the truth behind Tyrone's guarded demeanor. "I know things," he started, his gaze intense. "About your father. About what really happened back then." The clenching of Jamal's fists burned with old pain, memories of questions unanswered since he was a child. "You can't just drop that on me. You know how hard it's been. But you're the last person I want to hear this from." Tyrone's expression softened slightly. "I know. But I've changed. I'm trying to make things right. There are things you deserve to know." Jamal looked away, processing the gravity of the moment. Could he trust Tyrone? The pain from their past felt overwhelming, but intertwined with a thread of hope. Could this be the breakthrough he had been yearning for? "The past is buried deep," Jamal said, trying to maintain control. "But your timing, it's all wrong." "Maybe," Tyrone replied. "But it's now or never. I got your number for a reason. I need you to understand something, you're connected to more than you realize. There's a door I found, and it can change everything for both of us." Jamal's heart raced again, this time with a mix of anger and intrigue. "What kind of door?" Tyrone leaned in, his voice lowered. "A path towards your family's legacy. There's a chance for you to step into something greater if you're willing." Jamal felt a wave of disorientation wash over him. His father's past, his own future, and the possibility of revenge or redemption all collided in that moment. I came here to protect my daughter, not to dig up family secrets. I get that. Tyrone's voice was steady now. But she deserves the truth more than you know. And so do you. Silence enveloped them as Jamal's gaze drifted down the street. He thought about Mia. About what kind of life he wanted for her. Was this worth the risk? Could uncovering the past mend the fractures of their lives? Tyrone took a step closer, holding out his hand. Let me help you. Jamal's heart pounded, caught between his past and the potential of the unknown. The winds howled through the night, carrying whispers of truth. Could he really take that leap? Could he trust Tyrone, someone who had once been so close and now felt so distant? As the weight of the decision settled on him, he glanced into Tyrone's eyes, searching for a glimpse of the man he used to know. He saw a flicker of hope and desperation. Are you ready to find out who you really are? Tyrone challenged. That question hung in the air, echoing louder than any noise around them. The night felt electric, a reckoning awaiting on the horizon. Jamal stood at a crossroads. Would he grasp the opportunity, or let fear dictate his path? The answer loomed heavy, and with it, the possibility of change. In that moment, Jamal took a deep breath, knowing one step could alter everything. What was waiting on the other side of that door? Would he truly possess the courage to unlock it? Jamal's breath caught in his throat as he stared at Tyrone's outstretched hand. His heart raced, an overwhelming mix of fear and longing surging through him. This was a moment he couldn't ignore, a fork in the road where the path to understanding his family lay within reach. But to take it meant confronting a past that had haunted him for too long that he hesitated. What if this just leads to more pain? More secrets? The words spilled out, tinged with doubt. Tyrone stepped closer, his voice softening. I know it feels that way. But what if this is the closure you need? For you, for Mia? Thinking of his daughter made Jamal feel the weight of his decision multiply. He pictured her smile, innocent and bright, and the way she looked up at him, believing in his strength. What kind of example was he setting if he shied away from the truth? With a fierce swallow, he felt the minor defiance ebbing away, replaced by a spark of determination. But how can I trust you after everything? Jamal's voice was firm but laced with vulnerability. Because I'm not that same person anymore, Tyrone replied, sincerity shining through his eyes. I want to be better. For you, for me, for everything we lost. Jamal studied Tyrone's face, searching for the remnants of the friend he once knew. A wave of nostalgia washed over him, paired with a fierce current of anger. Memories crashed against each other like waves, reminding him of the shared laughs, the brotherhood, and the betrayal that shattered it. But underneath the frustration, there was also a flicker of hope, a chance to rebuild. After a long pause, Jamal slowly reached out, taking Tyrone's hand. The connection sparked a surge of energy between them. Perhaps they were both marked by their past choices, but they held the power to redefine their future. Where do we start? Jamal asked, his voice steady now. Tyrone's face broke into a tentative smile, relief washing over him. There's a woman, Mrs. Grace. She's been the keeper of many family secrets. She can help us find the door. As they walked together down Maple Street, uncertainty draped over Jamal like a shadow. Questions danced in his mind. Who was this woman? What would she reveal? But as he and Tyrone moved with purpose, Jamal began to feel the weight of his past lifting, making room for the possibilities of the future. The sounds of the street felt different now, filled with potential rather than nostalgia. They reached a small but brightly lit cafe, the kind where patrons lounged with warm drinks and laughter. Jamal had walked past this place 100 times but never noticed the warmth bursting from inside. As they stepped through the door, the aroma of coffee and baked goods enveloped them, while gentle chatter formed a comforting background hum. Jamal spotted the elderly woman seated in the corner, her silver hair glinting under the soft light. She had an air of wisdom, of someone who held many stories. "Mrs. Grace?" Tyrone called out, the excitement palpable. She looked up, her eyes twinkling with familiarity. "You must be the boys I've heard about." In that moment, Jamal felt the potential start to bubble up within him. This was the start of something monumental. Could this woman really be the key to unlocking the mystery of his father? The thrill swelled in his chest, but doubts lingered, like a whisper buried deep within. Jamal drew in a steadying breath. "Are you sure you're ready for this?" he thought to himself, wondering if facing the past would truly lead to the change he sought. As Mrs. Grace motioned them over, he sensed that whatever truths lay ahead, they would be his to confront. Truths, painful truths. What would they uncover together? Would this journey bring healing or further chaos? He couldn't help but feel a tingle of anticipation wrapping around his uncertainty, awaiting the unraveling of a past that might finally set them all free. Tyrone led Jamal to the table where Mrs. Grace sat, her hands delicately resting in her lap. She gestured for them to sit, her smile warm and inviting. The cafe felt like a world apart, filled with the soft clinks of cups and the murmur of casual conversations. Jamal felt slightly out of place, as if he were a stranger in a story that didn't quite belong to him. "Thank you for coming," Mrs. Grace said, her voice soothing and wise, carrying a hint of something deeper, a knowing that made Jamal's skin prickle. "We're here because we need answers," Jamal said, bravely meeting her gaze. He could feel Tyrone's anxiety beside him, barely breathing, as if their fate rested in her hands. Mrs. Grace leaned back, her eyes darting between the two men as if sizing them up. "Every story has layers, you know. Some are dark, some shine bright. What you seek lies buried in those layers." Her words hung in the air. Jamal felt a tight knot in his stomach. He wanted to peel those layers back, but the thought of what he might uncover frightened him. Deep down, part of him hoped for healing, while another part feared the chaos that the truth could unleash. "I'm looking for information about my father," Jamal ventured, his voice trembling but resolute. "I need to understand who he was, why he left, and why family secrets still affect us." Tyrone placed a reassuring hand on Jamal's shoulder, an indication that they were in this together. Mrs. Grace's expression softened as she nodded, understanding layered in concern. "Your father was a proud man," she began, her fingers tracing patterns on the table. "He loved deeply yet bore burdens that were too heavy to share. You have every right to know," her gaze landed squarely on Jamal. "But, sometimes, knowing comes with its own kind of pain." "What do you mean?" Jamal asked, fear creeping back into his voice. Would he find out that his father's choices cost him dearly, forcing him into a life marked by regret? There were choices made in the name of love, choices that ultimately led him to feel like he had no other option, she replied. "The answers you're looking for are raw. I won't sugarcoat them." Jamal swallowed hard, feeling the intensity in her words. He wanted to be strong for Mia, to give her a solid identity, but he also felt the weight of his own childhood, the gaping hole his father's absence had left. What if learning more brought only more pain? What if I can't handle the truth? He murmured, vulnerability washing over him. "That's why we're here," Tyrone stepped in, his voice firm. "You're not alone. We face this together." As Tyrone spoke, Jamal felt emboldened, his fears beginning to unfurl. Mrs. Grace leaned in, her voice low and conspiratorial. "There was a woman, the last person your father spoke to before he vanished. She might know more than we do." "Who is she?" Jamal asked urgently, leaning forward, his heart racing. "Her name is Clara. She's lived in the neighborhood since your father's days. Many think she holds the keys to understanding his choices," Mrs. Grace replied, her expression grave. "What do we need to do?" Jamal asked, a sudden surge of determination cascading into his veins. "Find her. Speak to her. But remember, once you uncover those truths, they can't be taken back," said Mrs. Grace, her gaze intense. Jamal nodded slowly, a rush of emotions swirling within him. There was a path, an opportunity to finally unravel the past. As he and Tyrone exchanged a look of mutual understanding, a sense of resolve settled over them, questions ignited in Jamal's mind, possibilities flashing like lightning through the dark clouds of uncertainty. But would Clara be willing to share? Would her truths build bridges or walls? As they stood to leave the cafe, a tingle of anticipation coursed through him. This was just the beginning. But would the next step lead to the healing he longed for, or would it push him deeper into fear and confusion? As they stepped into the bright daylight outside, Jamal felt a flicker of hope amidst the tempest of uncertainty. He took a deep breath, knowing that the real journey was just beginning. Jamal took a step into the sun-soaked street, the warmth pressing against his skin like an unyielding embrace. Tyrone fell in step beside him, their footsteps a hurried rhythm as they rushed to uncover the tapestry of Jamal's past. The bustling sounds of the cafe faded into a hum as the weight of the moment settled over them. "You really think we can find her?" Tyrone asked, hesitating only for a second before he pushed forward. His eyes scanned the nearby storefronts, searching for any sign of Clara. "We have to," Jamal replied, resolve coiling around his heart. "I can't leave this unanswered." As they walked, the vibrant life around them became a blur of colors and sounds. People laughed, cars honked, and the smell of fresh bread filled the air. But the mundane comforts of the day seemed distant to Jamal, the deeper currents of his own story pulled at him, dark and turbulent. "Hey," Tyrone said softly, breaking the silence. "Whatever we find, remember you have me." "I mean it." Jamal glanced at him, treasuring the friendship that steadied him. "Thanks, man. It means everything." They turned a corner, reaching the neighborhood where rumor held Clara's story, a place echoing with history and secrets. Jamal felt a twinge of nervousness, a flutter in his stomach that mingled with anticipation. Each step closer felt like peeling back the very layers Mrs. Grace had hinted at. "Do we even know what we're looking for?" Tyrone asked, his voice filled with uncertainty. "What if she's not who we think she is?" "We'll find out," Jamal said, pushing forward despite the unease. "We have to know." The street signs were familiar to Jamal from stories he'd heard, tales woven into the fabric of his childhood. As they navigated through the shadows of the trees lining the road, he felt a pang of curiosity. What pieces of his father's life were hidden here, tucked away in familiar cracks like whispered memories? Finally, they stood before a small, worn-down house with peeling paint and overgrown shrubs. It looked like it hadn't seen life in years, but Jamal's heart raced as he realized this might be where Clara had lived all this time. "What if she's not home?" Tyrone asked, his eyes darting around, catching the stillness of the midday sun. "We'll wait," Jamal decided, his tone firm. He felt an unexplainable pull, as if moments from the past were urging him to forge ahead. Minutes ticked by, dragging them into a silence thick with apprehension. Just as doubt started to creep in, the door creaked open, a frail woman standing in the gap, framed by years of shadows. Clara's eyes were clouded but sparkled with a hint of recognition. "Can I help you?" she asked, her voice worn yet wrapping around them like an embrace. Jamal's heart leaped. "Clara? I'm Jamal. I'm looking for answers about my father." Her expression shifted, something flickering behind her eyes, as if a long-buried memory was surfacing. "Your father," she whispered, then hesitated, her lips pressing together tightly. What truth lay behind her silence? Jamal's mind raced, every moment stretching out like a thread pulling them deeper into the unknown. "Please," Tyrone encouraged gently. "We need to understand." The air crackled with tension, Clara standing at the threshold between their past and future. Jamal felt the collective breaths of hope and fear caught in their throats, a moment suspended in time. "Are you ready for what I have to share?" Clara finally asked, a grave weight in her words. Jamal's heart pounded. Could he face the truth? Would these revelations prove to be his compass or his undoing? As Clara readied to speak, the world outside faded, the dance of light capturing only the three of them, the past colliding with the present. Nothing could prepare Jamal for what would unravel in the moments ahead. Clara took a shaky breath, her gaze intense yet distant. Jamal felt like he was standing on the edge of a cliff, about to be pushed into unknown waters. "There's so much to tell you, Jamal," she began, her voice trembling as if each word carried the weight of the world. "But it won't be easy to hear." "Just start," Jamal said, his voice barely above a whisper. Tyrone was beside him, a silent pillar of strength, his eyes locked on Clara. Clara nodded, searching for the right words. "Your father, he wasn't just an ordinary man. He was loved and feared in equal measure." Jamal's heartbeat quickened. What did she mean? Every version of his father he had known was that of a man who loved, yet also held secrets. "What do you mean?" he pressed, frustration and eagerness mixing in his tone. "When he lived here, things were different," Clara continued. "He made choices that changed paths, not just for himself but for everyone around him. He was involved in things that some folks don't like to remember." "What kind of things?" Tyrone asked, his brow furrowed. "Things that involved sacrifices, both emotional and physical. Your father was a protector at heart, but the world he lived in forced him to take on a darker role." Jamal felt as if the ground was shifting beneath him. His thoughts whirled. Was his father a criminal? A hero? He needed more answers. What happened to him? Clara took another shuddering breath. "He left because he had to protect you, and your mother. Your father loved you both more than anything. He believed he was doing the right thing." Jamal's hands balled into fists, emotion swirling like a tempest within him. "But I never knew. Why was I kept in the dark?" Clara stepped closer. "It wasn't just his decision. Your mother, she wanted to shield you. To give you a life away from all of it." "Away from what?" Jamal demanded, frustration bubbling over. Clara's expression softened, shadows dancing across her face. "She was involved in things too, Jamal. Things she wanted to protect you from. But the truth has a way of coming out. It always does." Jamal's breath caught in his throat. The revelations felt like an avalanche of stones piling on his chest. "You're saying my life, my family, it was all a lie?" "Not a lie," Clara insisted. "It was survival, as crazy as it sounds. Love made them do things they thought were right." "Is that what you really believe?" Tyrone gently interrupted, watching Clara intently. "Or is that what you tell yourself?" The question hung heavy in the air, the three of them caught in a web of tangled truths and lies. Clara glanced away, tears glimmering in her eyes. "I loved your father. I still do in many ways. He was conflicted, like all of us are. But it's not too late. You can choose your own path forward." Jamal felt the weight of her words, sensing their truth deep within him. But uncertainty gnawed at him. What path was there? Was he destined to repeat his father's mistakes? Before he could voice his fears, Clara continued, "There's something else, something important hidden away. He left me a message for you. It's in my old trunk, back in my home." Jamal's heart raced. "Where is it?" "Just a few blocks from here, a place filled with memories I can't escape." "Are you ready to dive deeper into the past?" Tension crackled in the air, and Jamal felt his pulse quicken. This wasn't just a search for his father anymore, it was a quest into a legacy filled with shadows. "You have to tell me everything," he urged, breathless with impatience. "I'm ready for whatever comes next." Her gaze locked on his, and for a moment, Jamal thought he saw a flicker of hope in her weary eyes. "Then let us go," Clara said. "This journey is only just beginning." As they stepped into the bright sunlight, the weight of the past lingered thick behind them. Jamal could feel nerves tingling in his veins, a spark igniting curiosity mixed with fear. What would they discover in that trunk? Would it lead to healing or chaos? With Clara's hand steering the way, Jamal walked forward, knowing each step could change everything. But as doubts wove through his heart, he couldn't help but wonder if he was truly ready for the answers that lay ahead. The streets felt different as Jamal walked beside Clara and Tyrone, the air thick with a mix of tension and hope. Jamal glanced at Clara, her presence solidified with a semblance of strength. She held pieces of a past he barely understood, yet somehow felt inherently connected to. With each step, a sense of urgency pooled within him. Was this the redemption he sought? Or an abyss leading him further into shadows? They arrived at the house, its rickety frame a silhouette of memories long hidden. Clara paused at the front door, hesitation crossing her features like shadows across her face. The trunk is upstairs, but it's not just a message. It holds everything: secrets, regrets, and perhaps, reconciliation, she murmured, her voice wavering. Let us do this, Jamal said, squeezing Tyrone's shoulder for reassurance. They stepped inside, the dusty air swirling as if alive with lingering spirits. The scent of old wood and forgotten times encased them, igniting a sense of nostalgia intertwined with anxiety. Slowly, Clara led them to the staircase, each creak echoing the weight of anticipation. Memories swirled in Jamal's mind of his childhood home, the laughter, the warmth. What had he lost? What had his father sacrificed to protect him? As they reached the second floor, the dim light from a window highlighted a trunk leaning against the wall, wreathed in a cloak of dust, the culmination of his questions, fears, and hopes. Are you ready? Clara asked softly, glancing at Jamal with a mixture of concern and encouragement. Without a word, he nodded, a steadying breath anchoring him. He approached the trunk, its latch rusty but familiar. As his fingers brushed the old metal, a thrill danced along his skin, sending shivers down his spine. Open it, Tyrone urged, his voice a haunting echo of mistaken identities and hidden truths. With a breath stealing his resolve, Jamal lifted the lid. Dust engulfed him, swirling like ghosts emerging from long-forgotten tales. Inside were letters, photographs, and a journal, each item a thread leading back to a life he needed to grasp. Jamal picked up the journal, the leather cracked but somehow warm under his palm. Flipping it open, he scanned the pages. His father's handwriting was a familiar rhythm, a heartbeat captured on paper. The words spilled forth, vibrant and raw: hopes lost, promises made, and unconditional love woven through the darkest choices. Tears brimmed at the corners of his eyes, blurring the lines of reality. He loved us, he murmured to himself, the realization breaking through the walls of his mistrust. Shouldering the weight of grief felt slightly lighter in that moment. But then, a haunting line caught his attention: I fear my choices will shatter my daughter's life, but I can't show her the truth until I'm gone. Jamal, Clara's voice broke through his reverie, penetrating the fog of emotions. You have to understand, your father faced demons. Choices that may have felt right at the time led him to make decisions you're only starting to uncover now. Jamal had always thought of his father as a coward, someone who had abandoned his family. But now, reading those words, he saw a man grappling with shadows far greater than he could understand, torment inviting itself into their lives despite the love that prevailed. I don't want to repeat those mistakes, Jamal whispered, the weight of eons washing over him. How do I break the cycle? You start by making different choices, Tyrone said, his voice steady. You've already taken the first step by confronting the truth. Clara placed a reassuring hand on Jamal's back. Every choice you make from here on will shape your legacy. Those who came before you may have stumbled, but you can rise. A flicker of determination ignited within him. He wouldn't just echo his father's path, he would carve out a new one. With renewed clarity, Jamal dug deeper, pulling out photographs, images of joyful days, his mother's radiant smile illuminating the frame. She was part of this journey too, and the yearning to know her stirred within him. He needed to discover more. As hope burgeoned in his chest, Jamal stood tall. I will be better for Mia. I won't allow fear to dictate my life. I will confront the ghosts, not run from them. Clara smiled gently, her wisdom apparent. Then you have begun healing, Jamal. Facing the past isn't about burying it, it's about understanding it. With the trunk now open, not just memories but clarity washed over him. He understood now the choices they made didn't solely define them, facing them head-on built the foundation of his own path. He took each letter from the past, each photograph, cradling them like artifacts of redemption. Not just for him, but for Mia, and for everything he was ready to build. He closed the trunk, the weight of the lid no longer feeling heavy but grounded. "Let us go," he said, determination glistening in his eyes as he looked at Tyrone and Clara, his newfound allies in the pursuit of truth. As they descended the staircase together, Jamal felt the sunlight pouring in, igniting their paths forward. The day was full of possibilities, it echoed with laughter, adventure, and a bright tomorrow. This wasn't just about uncovering the past, it was about shaping the future. Jamal stepped into that light, the shadows slipping away behind him. He wouldn't be defined by the fears of yesterday anymore. He would be the architect of his own destiny. As the sun bathed them in warmth, a deep exhilaration took root. Here was where transformation began, not just for him, but for Mia, and for whatever legacy he chose to create. Now is the moment to embrace this journey, my friends. You need to subscribe now to the channel so you won't miss the incredible stories unfolding. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and keep this community alive. Comment below your reactions and feelings about this heartfelt ending. Don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who could use this inspiration. Together let's build a movement of transformation and hope.